And David Pleat, had we been a fly on the Liverpool dressing room wall, what do you imagine we might have heard?
Well, I think he might consider the goal slightly unfortunate. You would have expected United to have had more of the ball than his own team. He was making penetrative moves down the left-hand side with Gonzalez, and that pace was important. I think he'll look at Kite and either have to give him a partner later on, or certainly tell him to do less running, less chasing. But most importantly, he'll be telling the back four just to squeeze a little bit tighter. I don't think he needs to change his system yet. I thought the system was containing United quite well, and there's always a chance of a break. They just need to play a little bit higher up the field to try and force Rooney right back to help Scholes and Carrick.
Here is Rooney. And now it's Giggs. Bearing down on Finnan. Still lots of people around the stadium taking their seats. Scholes. Vidic to Ferdinand. The rivalry between these two sides intensified by the fact that, gallingly for Liverpool, since they won their last championship in 1990, Manchester United have won the title on 8 occasions. And whilst it's, as we keep saying, pretty premature to be talking about writing off title hopes, as we are only in the 3rd weekend of October, there would be an 11-point gap between Manchester United and Liverpool if the scoreline remains in United's favour. Carrick. Here's Fletcher. Neville. Header by Finnan. Comes to Saha.
Once again, Saha shooting early, a feature of the first half. Neville's ball in, and the ball's headed clear. Saha's first onto the ball, and that early quick shot again. Trying to catch the goalkeeper before he gets set.
Garcia. Just behind Gonzalez. Good work by Fletcher. It's not often that one of these meetings of Manchester United and Liverpool passes off without some sort of incident. To compete with the football for the following morning's headlines. So far, it's been the football to the fore. Last season it was Gary Neville's gesture at the Liverpool fans, detracted in part from Rio Ferdinand's last-minute winner. Here's Rooney. Carrick. Fletcher. Outside him is Saha.
Neville was hoping there that Fletcher would come in and run the ball off him in a scissor movement. Instead, he lost his balance, stranded on the line as the ball was played beyond him. Interesting, in that attack there, Carrick broke from midfield. Gerrard was just caught a little bit flat-footed. He was a little bit annoyed that Sissoko had played a poor square ball. Scholes occasionally alternates with Carrick, coming to have that ball off the back four and try and drag Liverpool onto them.
Rooney. Fouled by Hyypiä. It was on this ground that Sami Hyypiä received his only red card in English football 4 years ago.
It has been a magnificent signing. I saw him play at Willem II in Holland and hesitated, looking at his abilities in a comfortable league, slow pace. What a wonderful performance he's put in at Liverpool.
Evra was fouled by Sissoko, who's the one player that enters this second half carrying a yellow card against his name. just outside the box. And Graham Poll is pacing out the 10 yards. Rooney think of going direct from here? No, he goes square to the man of the day, Paul Scholes. He's rattled a few in from there over the years.
Yes, not least of all, he hit one against Copenhagen from the edge of the box. A beautiful drive. Not from a dissimilar position, probably slightly more central. Here comes the first Liverpool change, and it's an orthodox wide player for the more manoeuvrable front player. Gonzalez.
And his replacement, Jermaine Pennant. A first season signing from Birmingham, former Arsenal. Started at Notts County, a couple of substitute appearances for them. Still only 23. 12th game for Liverpool, and he's still seeking his first goal for the club.
Looks as though Pennant may go and play on the left and try and link with Kaut from that position and leave Gerrard on the right. Maybe when they get the messages through, Pennant will come out here into a more orthodox wide position.
Finnan. Kaut. There's Vidic. Alonso. Evra stationed on the edge of his own area. Fletcher. Rooney. And hope springs eternal when Rooney has the ball. Likewise Giggs. Rooney. Scholes to Carrick. Back to Scholes. Very quiet in the stadium since half-time. It is the time of day on a Sunday afternoon when most people would normally, if they weren't at the football, be having a quiet snooze in the armchair after Sunday lunch. Fletcher. Graham is ball.
Well played by Fletcher, and he would have hoped that Sahar looks as though he's just walking a little gingerly at the moment. Might have been going in towards the penalty spot to attack that ball.
Fletcher not moving quite as freely at the moment. Garcia. Carrick mopping up.
Bit of frustration amongst the Liverpool support. They have to be a little bit more ambitious, either Finnan and Risa, or both indeed, have to be brave and go and get forward, and as the game progresses they'll have to leave 2 against 1 at the back, or 2 against 2 if Rooney pushes on closer to Sahar. But they have to do it if they're going to exert some pressure. Pennant has kept his position on the left-hand side. Interesting. Maybe Benitez sees him having more success against Gary Neville than against Evra. But Gerrard has kept his place on this right-hand side.
Fletcher. That was nicely done by Rooney. Didn't lead to anything. This is Sissoko for Liverpool. Picked out by Evra. Scholes. Saha turned into the challenge. Alonso. Pennant. It'll be interesting to see what sort of effect Pennant can have on this game if he sees the ball. Saw an awful lot of it against the 10 men of Chelsea. Didn't do a whole lot with it. Saha.
Sissoko is strong in that centre for Liverpool, so important to them. Long striding, and anyone is slow to make a move. Sissoko is quick. Alex Ferguson just giving Sahar a little bit of his voice at the moment from the touchline. Thought he was slow there to come on to a pass from Carrick.
Dispossessed. Garcia using Kaut as a foil, and that's a good solid challenge, shoulder to shoulder by Everett.
Not an easy ball, that one. Little pass there from Vidic to Carrick, a straight ball, very quickly closed by Alonso. Gives Carrick little chance to turn. Now he's got more space and time to move with the ball and pick out his pass.
Everett, fouled by Gerrard. And Everett is staying down.
Easy afternoon so far for Mr. Cole. Cleverly playing that ball and inviting Gerrard in and winning the free kick.
Poll watched today by the controller of English Premier League referees, Keith Hackett, away to our left in the director's box. Also in the crowd today, saw coming into the stadium David Beckham's father, Ted, who, despite his son's absence from these parts, remains a very keen Manchester United fan. Rooney got a piece of it and diverted it to Giggs. Scholes. And then the third member of the class of 92, the FA Youth Cup winning side of 92. Giggs to Scholes to Neville. And finally Risa for Liverpool, back to Pepe Reina. Goes against Garcia.
Good point there, Fletcher hustling the goalkeeper, making him play it quickly. Terrific pressurising by Fletcher, and then United winning the free kick, but making the goalkeeper kick under pressure so he can't place his longer ball. Good play by Fletcher.
The goal scorer, Scholes. Rooney. Came off Sissoko. Finnan.
Rooney very much a player today, setting up play, making passes, working hard, but so far very little sight of that magic goal.
He scored twice on the opening day against Fulham here. Hasn't managed a goal in 7 games since. From Ferdinand. Vidic with the header. Gerrard pumped forward. Dealt with by Rio Ferdinand. And here's Carrick. Rapidly in was Kaut.
Just the pace sometimes has caught Carrick out. Just a little bit quicker at times to send that ball away and then maybe get the next pass before he makes his accurate longer delivery. He's caught dwelling on the ball a couple of times in the centre.
Gerrard. There's Garcia.
Just stretching too much to glide that ball back across the goal. Couldn't. For once in his life, he must have wished he was taller.
Giggs.
But Garcia is playing much closer with Count now, where in the first half Garcia and Gonzalez were playing either side of Count. Now Count has a partner, more orthodox formation, pennant wide left. Count and Garcia up front, with Count playing the Rooney role, playing up front but just drifting into midfield at times when they lose the ball. And then Gerrard on the right, but once again playing his drifting game. Needs to be in the game more, Gerrard. He's been a disappointment so far in this game. He hasn't had enough of the ball perhaps, but he hasn't done enough with it when he has had it.
A Premier League record crowd confirmed inside Old Trafford today, 75,828. Biggest attendance ever for a game in the Barclays English Premier League. And also Manchester United's biggest league gate since before the Second World War.
Carragher's limping quite badly for Liverpool at the moment. Certainly in some trouble.
Well, Paletta, the Argentine, is on the bench today. It's not happened often this season. The referee has stopped play so that Carragher can have some attention. Paletta, who's yet to make his debut. And Carragher concerned with that area round about the left ankle. That was where the damage was done. Rob Price, the Liverpool physio.
He might have just turned his ankle a little bit and just stretched the ligaments.
You can see.
Not an easy one if he has, because playing on won't help any swelling that might happen. And also, of course, will hamper his chances for the next game.
Yep. They've got this run of league fixtures, a fairly testing run, and also the next Champions League game against Bordeaux to consider. This was the moment that separates the teams effectively. Paul Scholes following up his own effort to score after 39 minutes. Meanwhile, Carragher has limped off and now he's trying to limp back on, but Phil Dowd, the fourth official, has collared him. Now he is back on. With Sissoko in possession, but not for long. Rooney. Cut out, it was a telegraph pass. Risa. Have another go, Wayne. Giggs. Lovely ball. Apparently effortless. Darren Fletcher. Saha. And Carragher, having stood off him initially, makes the block.
Certainly shoot on sight, Saha, today. Every opportunity, winning a corner on that occasion.
Manchester United with more shots on goal than any other Premier League team this season, with more goals than any other Premier League team so far this campaign. Giggs. Sissoko. Evra. Studiously back to Ryan Giggs. Saha had it whipped away by the still limping Carragher. There's Ferdinand, and still, and he scored for the second year in a row against Liverpool. Last time these two sides met in the FA Cup, he was a paying spectator at Anfield. Today, he's brought the house down.
Well, it was taken like a classic inside forward, not like a central defender. Giggs taking his time, working the ball, working his angle before hitting it in. It wasn't a good cross. And then it was a poor missed kick. I think it was by Carragher, the injured player, and as he brought it inside, he hit it unerringly with his left foot. Superb take by Ferdinand. The goalkeeper, no chance. Perfect spot. Reesa might have done a little bit better. Certainly Pennant couldn't get there. Fine goal. Rooney would have been proud of it.
Ferdinand will be amazed by it. It's only the 9th of his career, just his 4th for Manchester United. He scores on average every 50 games, so they have to be special, and that one certainly was. Looks like it's going to be an 11-point advantage for Manchester United over Liverpool. Only 9 games into the season, and look what it means. There's no rivalry quite as intense as this in the English Premier League. There are London derbies, but this Northwest affair has so much added meaning because of the personal rivalries involved as well. Rooney taking on the entire Liverpool side by the looks of it. Smile on the face of Dave Bryan. Rooney has battered Liverpool, and also the referee's assistant's flag.
You get a grey card, I think, for that, don't you?
Get a bill.
Not quite a yellow. As long as you don't get the old bill.
Well, he's had a shave.
Very efficient club. New flag within seconds. Urgently delivered. Paul is shouting, come on, having a go at Mr. Dowd's inefficient running.
Well, Dowd will be cursing the fact it's happened at the furthest possible point from the 4th official's bench.
Couldn't run any quicker. He was holding on to his wallet, I think, in his left hand there as he was running across the field. But Graham Paul was determined to get on with the game quickly.
And now we do with Gary Neville. His header. Scholes. Giggs. Past Finnan. Not Sissoko. Chaos. Peter Crouch, we saw a little glimpse of a moment ago. It's going to be with us shortly. And this is going to be a caution because of the foul on Count by Vidic.
Playing a strong game up front, Count, but needs more support. Van der Sar hasn't really been brought into action. I can't remember him making one save where he's had to pull anything out of the bag. United have defended very solidly. This will open up the game more if Crouch comes on to support the Dutchman. They'll have to concede a midfield player, I would think. Might leave them a little bit open to the counter.
And the flag is on its way to the waste bin. Let's hope that Phil Dowd's got another one up his sleeve just in case. Paco Ayestaran, Rafa Benitez's assistant, just directing the 4th official as to the substitution. It's going to be Crouch replacing Alonso, we hear. Saha. Giggs. And here we go. Tall beanpole striker who scored the winner in the FA Cup back in February when last these two sides met, in place of the midfield man Xabi Alonso.
He's had a decent game, Alonso. I feel he hasn't been able to make that final precise pass that set her forward in. There was a pass early on in the game when Gonzalez raced inside of Neville, but United have kept them well at bay.
Here's Pennant popping up on the right now. And if it stays this way, it's going to be a fourth consecutive away defeat in the Premier League for Liverpool without scoring a goal. Their only away goal in the league this season, Robbie Fowler's penalty at Bramall Lane on the opening day. They've lost 3-0 at Everton, 1-0 at Chelsea, 2-0 at Bolton. They're 2 down here. And what does it say, David Pleat, about Liverpool's aspirations if, of their first 9 league games, they've lost 4 of them?
Absolutely. Of course, you could be very harsh and say that if they continue at that rate, no way can they win the Championship. I think we already have a feeling that is a fair comment. But of course, they have to get into the top 3. I think whatever happens, they must strive to get in the top 3, and that may be difficult now too. But of course, nothing's irretrievable, but they have to have a glorious undefeated run and win a lot of games. And at the moment, I don't know if their setup is ambitious or attacking enough to score the goals that are going to be required to win games. Every team's going to make mistakes. Every team is going to concede a goal now and again. You have to have forwards who are going to take the pressure off you.
Good ball by Saha to Ryan Giggs. Exciting sight in full flow. Still going, Ryan Giggs. Almost opened up for him. And then the ball to the far post, which is unoccupied, but what a run. Rutt was rolling back the years.
Yes, indeed. I first saw him play as a schoolboy here. Ryan Wilson for Manchester United's youth team. He was wonderful then as a Salford schoolboy, and he still is. Bemusing dribbler. Almost scored. What a goal that would have been. Reverse chip into the top corner with his secondary foot.
So Alec Ferguson, this fixture means more to him than any other. He's set a points target of 90. That's what he believes it'll take to win the title this season. If they win today, they'll have 22 from just 9 games. Beaten only once, that by Arsenal here. And they will go back to the top of the Barclays English Premier League above Chelsea by winning here. To Pennant. Now Rooney. Can Manchester United add to this lead? It's Fletcher. Steaming forward is Neville. One touch, then the cross. Cannons off Risa. And is hoisted by Herpier.
I definitely think United have used the flanks better. They managed to get down the sides and get crosses in.
Sissoko. Pennant.
Now Julio will be frustrated with that. Pennant, still I think somewhat of an enigma. Wonderful move for him to Liverpool, but I always feel he's a winger, that you can drive him across the field and into the ruck of players, accepting that he is a very good crosser of the ball from wide positions. Still has a lot of inconsistencies in his game, still very young, of course.
Gerrard nearly fell for Crouch. And there is still, of course, time for Liverpool. It's just they're not looking that threatening. More than a quarter of an hour. This is worth another view. Rio Ferdinand's moment of glory.
I think in the first place, it's very difficult to be critical. Risa might have got a little bit tighter as he brought the ball infield. Pennant couldn't get back in there, and then he struck it superbly well. That part of it, immaculate.
Count. Picked off all too easily by Evra. He leaves it for Giggs.
One of the beauties of commentary is that you can reflect and play the game in hindsight. I'm just looking at Gerrard today, and I have to say we discussed the formation that Liverpool might play, and we thought they might play a 4-4 with Gerrard just playing in behind Kaut. Looking back, I think that would have mirrored the United formation and would have been more beneficial to them. I'm quite sure that Gerrard hasn't been involved enough from central positions.
Yellow card for Steve Finnan for a foul on Rooney. Third booking of the afternoon. He joins Vidic and Sissoko. Evra. Goal scorers so far. Scholes in the first half, Ferdinand in the second. And whilst Manchester United fans, both here and watching in on television around the world, in all corners, north, south, east and west, they'll all be delighted with a win over Liverpool if that's what this turns into. What they'd really like to see is a goal for Wayne Rooney. That would confirm that all really is OK with the world. Now Crouch caught Van der Sar late, and Graham Poll's body language is ominous as he runs across. The crowd are baying for Crouch to receive red, but it's yellow.
Well, it's easy for me to say. I know Peter Crouch, and he tried to go for the ball. I think Van der Sar was quite canny there. He got the ball away and then hurled him. I can assure people, Crouch is a passive centre-forward. He's not an over-aggressive centre-forward. Of course, that doesn't mean to say an incident in isolation can't be over the top. But certainly that deserved no more than a yellow. He was just trying to show some passion and some determination to put the United goalkeeper under pressure.
Two tallest players involved on the pitch, 6'5" Van der Sar, 6'7" Crouch. Here's 6'3" John O'Shea arriving in place of Gary Neville for Manchester United. It's their first change, and Gary Neville is jogging across with the armband to hand it on to Ryan Giggs. Handshake too. Including stoppage time, round about quarter of an hour for John O'Shea to play.
It may be one very interesting substitution. I can see it fully. O'Shea, stronger, taller in the air. Maybe a few up and unders. They may push the ball into the box for Crouch and Kaut. Inevitably they will. They'll have to do that. Try and put some aerial bombardment in. Play a little bit differently to their more studied approach. And in that respect, O'Shea probably has the advantage over Neville. So, well thought out. Good move.
Do you think he'll make a decent manager, this Ferguson fella?
I think so, John. I was just thinking about 6-foot commentators, actually, amongst all those 6-footed plus defenders and forwards. I was thinking about, well, a similar thing to you, really. I was thinking about decent commentators.
None came to mind, no doubt. Finnan. Kaut. Reminder, if you joined us late, that Craig Bellamy is absent from the Liverpool side because of a calf injury today. This is Garcia. Risa. Well done by Vidic. It was Crouch going in with him. Vidic goes down as if he might have been fouled. The referee doesn't think so, which is just as well for Peter Crouch. And play will restart with this throw by Risa. O'Shea.
That's the header.
Now Rooney has started to give chase to this. Finnan aware of his presence. Manchester United ball.
Game drifting away from Liverpool now. No real impact. Van der Sar still very much a spectator. I don't think he was thinking last night when he went to bed that he was going to have a relatively easy Sunday lunchtime, but he has had, I think Liverpool might, on reflection, take a little bit of criticism for their ambition. or lack of ambition.
It wouldn't be the first time that that's been levelled at them under Benitez. I mean, if you were being very, very harsh and critical at this stage of the season, you could make a case for suggesting that they don't look as effective as they did last season, Liverpool.
Yes, I mean, that's difficult in as much as, John, you know, you'd probably have to see a couple of games live. It's like comparing eras. You know, actually seeing the personnel, seeing the game side by side.
Gerrard in, taken by Van der Sar.
But I'm sure results would suggest that, wouldn't they? That they're not as an efficient a combination, because they had those long, prolonged early games last season. They played all those games. I'm sure he was rotating just as much. Gerrard started with that golden vein of scoring.
He had 8 goals, you know, by this stage last season. Gerrard has yet to score this.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, Gerrard certainly in this game has not been a major weapon for Liverpool. And I think without Bellamy to stretch United, it has been difficult for them up front. I think Kaup's worked his socks off, but the support hasn't been close enough to him. And by playing 2 midfield protectors, which they did in the first half, Sissoko and Alonso, I think they gave the initiative to United, who only had Carrick, and they had better width. And I think that probably has shaded the game.
Fletcher. Scholes. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been warming up quite vigorously. It'd be unsurprising to see him at this stage.
Of course, we must also remember United have played without Ronaldo tonight, who Alex Ferguson has been saying continually this season he's been his most consistent player. I'm not sure about that. I think his most consistent danger may be right, but you know, has run into a few channels occasionally and got outnumbered.
Yes, Ronaldo only considered fit enough for the bench today after picking up a knock to his ankle in training on Friday. And there will, as usual, be a much changed United side on duty on Wednesday night in the English League Cup at Crewe.
I'm sure Dario Gradi, that wonderful manager, will be here today, quaking. Of course, he won't be. He'll probably be coaching his under-12 somewhere on a field near Crewe.
Fletcher. O'Shea. Appeal for handball, it's not given. Fletcher a second time, and Hurpier in the end left it for Reina. No point Dario Gradi turning up, because very unlikely that any of the players he would see today would be playing at Gresty Road. Yes, he just fancied watching a good game. Scholes.
Pennant made very little impression so far on the wide berth. The more restrained Houllier now, a very pensive Alex Miller. I think they believe, well, they will never ever admit to it, of course, that with 6 minutes to go, they ain't going to get anything out this game today.
Information over the public address system of that record crowd. Plenty here to acclaim Manchester United's return after a 24-hour absence to the top of the Barclays English Premier League table. If they can hold on to this lead, and they're not looking in too much peril at the moment.
Had a chance to cross that, the young Pennant, and he refused, and now Kaup's out wide, winning a free kick. Crouch is in the middle. I think only Hippier has come through with big strikes for me today in the Liverpool side.
Still time. Pennant and Gerrard.
Just getting above Ferdinand in the air. O'Shea competing, but just fell. Never got a clean look at it.
Rooney. Saha. And on some of the giant advertising hoardings surrounding this pitch, well-known bookmakers is inviting Manchester United supporters to take advantage of odds of 3-1 for Manchester United to win the Premier League title. They will be top tonight. Scholes, Giggs, and it's a contrast to last season. At this stage of the last campaign, Manchester United trailed Chelsea by 10 points.
I think Alex Ferguson will be particularly pleased with the contributions of relatively new boys, people like Evra, Vidic, settled well today. I think Carrick's done okay today. Carrick just needs to be sharper at times, but he's got a nice midfield combination there with Scholes. Because they're fortunate to have Fletcher very hard working on their right side and Giggs on their left side, which makes them not only good going forward, but very solid when they're forced to defend.
Garcia. In microcosm, it almost describes Liverpool's performance.
Benitez now probably thinking negatively.
And it is open season at the moment to question his rotation policy. Last time he named an unchanged team, 97 games ago against Fulham back in February 2005. They won that game.
Well, there's a lot of managers in the Barclays Premiership that have any kind of losing run come under immediate pressure, intense speculation. And of course, the bigger you are, the more you pay in salaries, the greater the reputation, the more intense that pressure becomes for the manager.
And even winning the UEFA Champions League in your first season is no permanent insurance policy against it.
Absolutely, it's today that counts, neither yesterday nor tomorrow.
Risa. Luis Garcia. Ferdinand with a slice. Crouch. And Vidic coming over the top of Kaut. There's Gerrard. Well, Liverpool's shooting today has been poor.
I think that's his first attempt, is it, John? Apart from the header a few minutes ago, Gerrard hasn't got close enough or central enough to get on the end of that type of headed clearance, well intercepted by Sissoko. Been an anemic day for the big man in the Liverpool ranks. Finishing up with a 4-4-2 Liverpool. Pennant, Sissoko, Gerrard and Garcia on the left, with Crouch and Kaut up front, but a forward-looking policy too late.
Minutes to be played. Fourth official Phil Dowd is poised with his board, but he's already spilt the beans to our man down by the dugouts. Guided out by Risa for a throw. Rain beginning to fall here. It was forecast. Often is in these parts. Rooney. Scholes. A bit too much weight on Carrick's ball. Back to Evra. No matter. And there may just be opportunity for one more Manchester United substitution before the end. Wes Brown, we're told, is going to replace Patrice Evra. Sissoko. Played most of this game with a yellow card against his name. Garcia. Kaut. Crouch. O'Shea away.
Defended well O'Shea in his cameo appearance.
Smile on Wes Brown's face. He knows he'll get his appearance money. And Patrice Evra being urged to hurry up by Graham Poll. He's limping off. He knows that Gabriel Heinze is pretty much fit enough to replace him now if he has sustained an injury. Sylvester is still some way away. And to what is usually a pretty high-octane fixture, this is a fairly low-key end with the result not really in doubt for the last 20 minutes or so. Often these sides are still going hammer and tongs, seeking a late winner. That was the case in this fixture last year.
A bit of frustration by Gerrard. I suppose the icing on the cake for United supporters would have been a Rooney goal. But he's back on form, I don't think there's any doubt about that. He's been an integral part of the team today. He's passed the ball well, he's shown good movement, he's been very determined. And I'm sure he's a much happier young man than he was a few weeks ago.
Well, the cornerstone of the season for Sir Alex Ferguson is beating Liverpool, preferably twice. His 48th game against them, his 21st win. 15 defeats. They've met in League Cup finals, FA Cup finals, Charity Shields, Community Shields. Over 40 times in league competition. And he will celebrate his 20th anniversary in the job in a fortnight's time. Still with that warm feeling of a recent win over Manchester United's greatest rivals. By 2-0, and it was every bit as comfortable as that scoreline suggests. Rio Ferdinand with an excellent second goal midway through the second half to add to a special one by Paul Scholes. Special not in terms of its execution, but in terms of its timing on the occasion of his 500th appearance for Manchester United. He won't want to make a fuss, he won't want to do any interviews. He'll be happy to take the acclaim and to go home to his family back in Saddleworth and to reflect on a job very well done as Manchester United return back above Chelsea to the summit of the Barclays English Premier League on goal difference. Resounding cheers from most corners of this ground. Liverpool impotent today. Steven Gerrard hardly a factor. A game well refereed by Graham Poll. Gary Neville this time does not go anywhere near the Liverpool fans, unlike last year. Rio Ferdinand with a celebratory drink. There may be something stronger a little later. But Manchester United have won the first of their summit meetings with Liverpool this season. And on this evidence, they look genuine contenders for the Premier League title. They look capable of pushing Chelsea all the way. As for Liverpool, they look a long way off. Full time at Old Trafford in front of just under 76,000, a record crowd. It's Manchester United 2, Liverpool 0.
This programme